the Forgotten Isles. After their triumph in the Frozen Vale, Tobian and Nivara sailed to a new land on the horizon, the Forgotten Isles, a chain of mystical islands shrouded in fog and legends. Each island was said to hold ancient, forgotten powers that could only be unlocked by those with great wisdom and courage. As they approached the archipelago, the fog began to thicken, and the sea turned an eerie shade of turquoise. Tobian's compass spun wildly in every direction, and even his magic seemed unable to pierce the dense mist. They soon found themselves at the mercy of the Isle's magic. "We're not alone here," Tobian whispered, scanning the waters. Nivara nodded, feeling the old magic swirl around them. She knew this was the time for her to transform again, to attune herself to the energy of the Forgotten Isles. Closing her eyes, she embraced the island's magic, allowing it to shape her anew. Her transformation was swift but elegant. Nivara's hair turned a deep, oceanic blue, flowing like water in the breeze. Her eyes shifted to a luminous green, glowing softly with the power of the sea. Her skin took on a soft iridescent sheen, reminiscent of mother of pearl. Her gown became a flowing garment of sea foam and shimmering mist, the hem trailing behind her like waves lapping at the shore. She had become the spirit of the Forgotten Isles. "I can feel the islands calling," Nivara said softly, her voice carrying an otherworldly echo. "There are secrets here, waiting to be found." With Nivara guiding the way, they sailed through the fog, the ship gliding effortless across the still waters. The first island they encountered rose sharply from the sea, its jagged cliffs lined with ancient stone ruins barely visible through the mist. Strange birds with glowing feathers circled the skies above, their cries filling the air with an eerie melody. "This place feels timeless," Tobian remarked as they disembarked. "Like it exists outside of the world we know." As they climbed the cliffs, they noticed strange glyphs carved into the rocks, glowing faintly in the mist. Nivara traced the markings with her fingers, feeling the magic pulsating beneath them. "These glyphs speak of a long-forgotten civilization that once thrived here. They used the power of the sea and the sky to sustain their kingdom." They soon reached the top of the cliffs, where a massive stone archway led into a crumbling temple. The temple walls were covered in intricate carvings of sea creatures and stars, and in the center of the temple stood a glowing pedestal. Upon it rested an ancient artifact, a conch shell adorned with glowing runes. "This is it," Tobian said, eyes wide. "The conch of the stars. It's said to summon the power of the sea and the heavens. But the magic here feels unstable." As they approached the pedestal, the ground beneath them began to tremble, and the air grew thick with power. The runes on the conch shell flared to life, casting a bright blue light across the temple. Suddenly, the conch let out a deep, resonant sound, and from the fog surrounding the island emerged a colossal sea serpent, its scales shimmering with the same glow as the runes. It coiled around the temple, its enormous eyes locked on Tobian and Nivara. "The guardian of the artifact," Nivara whispered, her hand instinctively reaching for Tobian's. "It won't let us take the conch without proving ourselves." The serpent spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "You seek the power of the stars and the sea, but only those who understand the balance of the elements may wield it. Show me your worth, or face the depths." Nivara, in her new form, stepped forward with calm determination. "We are here to protect the balance of the realms. We do not seek power for ourselves, but to ensure that the forces of darkness do not rise again." The serpent tilted its massive head. "Words mean nothing without action. You must face the trial of tides. If you succeed, the power will be yours. If you fail, you will be lost to the sea." With that, the temple began to shift and change around them, the stone walls dissolving into water. The ground beneath them turned into a swirling ocean, and the sky above darkened, filled with storm clouds. The trial of tides had begun. Nivara, now fully connected to the island's magic, could feel the rhythm of the waves beneath her feet. She raised her arms, summoning the power of the ocean. The water surged around her, forming a protective barrier as the waves grew fiercer. Tobian, meanwhile, called upon his magic, conjuring bolts of lightning to strike the turbulent waters, channeling the storm above to aid them. Together, they faced the raging sea, their magic combining in a beautiful, chaotic dance of water and lightning. The serpent watched, testing their strength and unity. Massive waves rose and crashed around them, and whirlpools formed in the sea, threatening to pull them under. But Nivara, with her newfound connection to the Forgotten Isles, calmed the waters, guiding them through the chaos. Tobian's lightning illuminated the path ahead, cutting through the storm's fury. Finally, as the storm began to subside, the sea calmed, and the serpent lowered its head in respect. You have proven your worth. The power of the conch of the stars is yours to command. The conch floated from the pedestal into Nivara's hands, its runes glowing brightly. She held it up to the sky, and a beam of light shot from the conch into the heavens, parting the clouds and revealing a sea of stars above. With the trial complete, the temple and the serpent faded away, leaving Tobian and Nivara standing on the cliff once more. The fog around the island began to lift, revealing the other isles of the archipelago in the distance. Nivara looked at the conch, its power humming in her hands. There's more to discover here, Tobian. The Forgotten Isles hold many secrets, and this is only the beginning. Tobian smiled, placing his hand over hers. Then let's explore them, together. As they sailed away from the first island, the fog continued to lift, revealing the mysteries of the Forgotten Isles waiting to be uncovered. And with each new adventure, Nivara and Tobian grew stronger, bound by magic, love, and the promise of even greater wonders ahead. The Isle of Eternal Flames. After their triumph on the first of the Forgotten Isles, Tobian and Nivara set sail once more, the conch of the stars safely tucked away. As they approached their next destination, the waters grew warmer, and the sky above shimmered with a strange red hue. The air crackled with energy, and the distant silhouette of the Isle of Eternal Flames came into view, a land said to be born of both fire and magic. As the island's jagged cliffs drew nearer, Nivara could feel the elemental power of fire pulsing from within. The heat intensified with every moment, and the waves around them became tinged with steam. She knew it was time for another transformation. Nivara closed her eyes, letting the island's fiery energy flow through her. Her body shimmered, glowing with heat, as her transformation began. Her once oceanic appearance gave way to something entirely new. Her hair turned into flowing strands of molten gold and fiery red, flickering like the flames of a living inferno. Her eyes gleamed like molten lava, glowing with the intensity of the island's power. Her skin darkened to a rich bronze hue, with a faint glow beneath the surface as if embers danced just beneath. Her gown transformed into a garment of shimmering red and gold, trailing sparks and embers in the air. She had become the spirit of eternal flames. Tobian watched her transformation in awe, as always captivated by her ability to embody the elements around them. "You look like you belong here," he said, smiling as the boat reached the shore. "Are you ready for the fire?" Nivara nodded, her new form radiating heat and power. "This place is alive with fire magic. I can feel it in every rock, every breeze. But there's something else, something ancient beneath the flames." They stepped onto the island, the ground warm beneath their feet. The Isle of Eternal Flames was a land of stark beauty, sharp blackened mountains, fields of volcanic rock, and rivers of lava winding their way through the landscape. The sky above was tinged with orange, and smoke rose from the distant peaks. In the center of the island stood a massive volcano, its peak glowing faintly with the promise of molten fury. According to legends, the heart of the volcano held the flame of eternity, an ancient fire said to grant immense power to those who could withstand its heat. As they made their way toward the volcano, the heat intensified, and the ground shook with every step. Strange fire creatures, elementals made of flame and ash, emerged from the cracks in the earth, their fiery forms flickering and dancing as they watched Tobian and Nivara pass. One of the larger fire elementals approached them, its glowing eyes narrowing. "You seek the flame of eternity," it rumbled, its voice like the crackling of burning wood. "But only those who can endure the trial of fire may approach it." Nivara stepped forward, unafraid. "We seek balance, not destruction. We do not wish to wield the flame for harm, but to protect what remains in the world." The fire elemental considered her words before stepping aside, allowing them to pass. "The trial awaits. Prove your worth, and the flame of eternity will be yours." With the fire elementals watching, Tobian and Nivara ascended the volcano, the path growing steeper and more perilous with each step. Lava bubbled and hissed around them, and the air grew thick with smoke. But Nivara, in her fiery form, seemed to glow brighter the closer they got to the heart of the volcano. Tobian used his magic to create a protective barrier, shielding them from the extreme heat. At last, they reached the top of the volcano, where a massive crater opened up before them. In the center of the crater, surrounded by rivers of molten lava, stood a glowing stone altar. Atop the altar burned the flame of eternity, a brilliant, everlasting fire that seemed to pulse with ancient power. But before they could approach, the ground beneath them trembled, and the flames of the volcano roared to life. From the depths of the lava rose a massive fire dragon, its scales glowing like molten rock, its eyes blazing with fury. The dragon circled the crater, its wings stirring the ash and smoke into a furious storm. "You dare to claim the flame of eternity?" the dragon bellowed, its voice shaking the very earth. "Only those who can master the fire within themselves may wield its power." Nivara, her eyes glowing with determination, stepped forward. "We seek the flame not for power, but to restore balance to the world. We have faced many trials, and we will face this one as well." The dragon roared, unleashing a torrent of fire toward them. Tobian quickly raised his staff, casting a protective shield of shimmering light around them, but the heat was overwhelming. Nivara knew this was a trial meant for her, her connection to the flame was what would save them. Drawing on the fire within her, Nivara raised her arms and called upon the magic of the volcano. Flames erupted from the ground around her, swirling and dancing in the air. She commanded the fire with grace and strength, shaping it into a barrier that matched the dragon's fury. The dragon's flames crashed against Nivara's, but she stood her ground, her form glowing with the power of the fire. The heat intensified, and the air shimmered with energy. It was a battle of wills, Nivara against the ancient guardian of the flame. Slowly, the dragon's fire began to subside, its power no match for Nivara's mastery of the element. The dragon, realizing her strength, lowered its head in submission. "You have proven yourself worthy," the dragon rumbled. "The flame of eternity is yours to command." With the dragon's blessing, the flame on the altar flared brightly, and a small, glowing ember floated toward Nivara, resting gently in her palm. It was warm to the touch, pulsating with life and power. The flame of eternity now belonged to her. Tobian, watching in awe, stepped up beside her. "You did it, Nivara. You tamed the fire." Nivara smiled, the ember flickering softly in her hand. "This is only the beginning. The flame holds great power, but it must be used wisely." Together, they descended the volcano, the ember safely in Nivara's grasp. The fire elementals watched as they left, their glowing eyes filled with respect. As they sailed away from the Isle of Eternal Flames, the sky behind them shimmered with the light of the volcano. Nivara's fiery form still radiated heat and power, but there was a new calmness to her, a balance between the flame and the world around her. Tobian looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "What do you think is next for us?" Nivara gazed out at the horizon, the ember of the flame of eternity glowing faintly in her hand. "The islands still hold many secrets. And I believe our next adventure will take us even deeper into the magic of these lands." As they sailed toward the next island, the mist began to rise once more, revealing the unknown ahead. And with each new step, their bond, and the magic they wielded, grew stronger. The Isle of Shifting Shadows. The sun dipped below the horizon as Tobian and Nivara sailed onward, leaving the Isle of Eternal Flames behind. As the sky darkened, the next of the Forgotten Isles loomed on the horizon, shrouded in deep, swirling mist. It was the Isle of Shifting Shadows, a mysterious land where night and shadow intertwined, and illusions blurred the line between reality and dreams. As they approached the island, the air grew cool, and strange, twisting shapes appeared within the mist. The island's landscape was barely visible, its dark forests and towering cliffs seemed to shift and change with every glance. Nivara felt the magic of the shadows beckoning to her, calling her to transform once again. Closing her eyes, Nivara let the energy of the island flow through her, the shadows wrapping around her like a cloak. Her fiery appearance from the Isle of Eternal Flames faded, and a new form began to take shape. Her hair turned a deep midnight black, flowing like liquid shadow, with streaks of silver that shimmered like starlight. Her eyes became a glowing, ethereal violet, as if lit from within. Her skin took on a pale, moonlit hue, and her gown transformed into a flowing, dark robe that shifted and billowed like shadows in the wind, adorned with glimmering stars and wisps of mist. She had become the spirit of shifting shadows, a guardian of the night, able to manipulate illusions and move through the shadows like a whisper. Tobian watched her transformation, enchanted as always by the way she embodied each new land they visited. "You look like you've stepped out of the night itself," he said, smiling as they neared the shore. "This place, it feels different. We'll need your abilities here more than ever." Nivara's glowing violet eyes shimmered as she surveyed the shifting landscape. "The island is alive with illusion. Nothing is what it seems here. But I'll guide us through." The boat glided through the mist and reached the shore. The ground was soft beneath their feet, covered in a blanket of darkness that shifted like water. The trees ahead twisted in strange, unnatural shapes, their branches casting eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the shadows around them began to shift and take form, at first, small creatures darting between the trees, but soon, more substantial figures appeared. Dark reflections of Tobian and Nivara flickered in the corners of their vision, illusions born from the island's magic. Tobian paused, looking around warily. "This place plays tricks on the mind. I can barely tell what's real and what isn't." Nivara stepped forward, her form blending effortless with the shadows. "That's the island's magic at work. It creates illusions based on our fears and doubts. We'll need to stay focused if we're to find the heart of the shadows." The Heart of the Shadows was said to be an ancient artifact hidden deep within the island's darkest depths, a gem of pure shadow that held the power to control illusions and manipulate the very fabric of reality. It was the key to mastering the island's magic, but finding it would be no easy task. As they pressed on, the forest grew darker, and the illusions became more vivid. Figures from their past appeared in the shadows, old friends, long-lost enemies, and memories both joyful and painful. The air was thick with tension, and the island seemed to sense their every emotion. At one point, Tobian saw a flicker of his old mentor, a stern figure who had once doubted his abilities as an artist and wizard. The illusion was so real, he almost called out, but Nivara's voice brought him back to reality. "Don't lose focus," she said softly, her hand gently touching his arm. "The shadows are trying to confuse us." Tobian nodded, shaking off the illusion. "I won't. Let's keep going." They reached the heart of the forest, where the shadows grew even darker, swirling like a vortex around a large stone altar. Upon the altar rested the Heart of the Shadows, a glowing black gemstone that pulsed with an otherworldly light. But as they approached, the shadows around them solidified into a towering figure, a guardian of pure darkness, its form constantly shifting and changing. Its eyes glowed with violet light, and it spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from every corner of the island. "You seek the Heart of the Shadows," the guardian said, its form rippling with power. "But only those who can face their own darkness may claim it." Nivara stepped forward, her own shadowy form shimmering with confidence. "We've faced darkness before. We're not afraid." The guardian's eyes narrowed, and the shadows around them surged, creating a vast maze of illusions. The ground beneath their feet shifted, and suddenly, Tobian and Nivara found themselves separated, lost within a labyrinth of shifting shadows. Tobian moved cautiously, trying to find his way back to Nivara, but the illusions around him were relentless. Faces from his past, doubts about his abilities, and fears of losing Nivara flashed before him, clouding his mind. He reached for his magic, casting a spell of light to pierce through the shadows, but the darkness was strong, pulling him deeper into the maze. Meanwhile, Nivara moved gracefully through the shadows, her form melding with the island's magic. She understood the nature of the illusions and embraced the power of the shadows within her. She used the shifting landscape to her advantage, slipping through the maze as if she were part of it. Her violet eyes glowed with determination as she searched for Tobian. Finally, they found each other again at the center of the maze, their bond stronger than the illusions that tried to tear them apart. Together, they faced the Shadow Guardian once more. "You have faced your inner darkness," the Guardian intoned. "You have proven your worth." With that, the Guardian dissolved into the shadows, and the Heart of the Shadows floated from the altar, landing gently in Nivara's hands. The gemstone pulsed with dark energy, and Nivara could feel its power coursing through her. Tobian smiled as he looked at her, relieved and proud. "Another victory. You've mastered the shadows." Nivara nodded, the Heart of the Shadows glowing in her hand. "The illusions tried to separate us, but we're stronger together." As they left the island, the shadows around them began to fade, and the mist cleared. The Isle of Shifting Shadows was behind them, but its magic lingered in the Heart of the Shadows, now safely in Nivara's possession. Tobian looked out at the horizon, where the next of the Forgotten Isles awaited. "I wonder what the next island will hold." Nivara smiled, her shadowy form still aglow with the island's magic. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." And so, with the Heart of the Shadows in hand and their bond stronger than ever, Tobian and Nivara sailed toward their next adventure, ready to face whatever mysteries the Forgotten Isles had in store.